It's special election coverage all day today with our special guest, Sarah Bowman, who is the former co-chair of the Polk County Republicans. How's the race coming down in your district? We'll talk about it.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
Let's get it started in here.
Welcome to The View from a Pew, a conversation among Christians who are out to grow their faith by asking the simple questions, the tough questions, and the stuff you really wish your pastor would talk about. Come on now, let's reason together. It's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. That's 855-244-0077. Now, here's your host, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, welcome. It's 4 minutes after 3 o'clock on this Election Day 2012. I feel like Sean Hannity. On the November 6th of 2012, the Lord's year, we thank you for tuning in today. We know you have lots of choices that you can tune to not only live but in podcasts, and we just appreciate you taking the time to do this. We're going to do what a lot of talking heads are doing across the country today, and that's try to predict, have an idea of what's going on. But rather than me being the expert, which of course I'm not, I brought in two people that I know what's going on in the Republican Party. One, of course, is my vice presidential candidate nominee, Mr. Tom Coates. What's your middle initial?
M as in Mr.
Tom. It's not Mr. Your mother didn't name you Thomas Mr. Coates.
Thomas Marshall Coates.
All right. Oh, I like Marshall.
Marshall was my maternal grandfather's name.
And there is very few people that I know. Gee, you may be the only one that I know that is as informed in politics as you are, but you have nothing to do with it. Well, you know what I mean, though. I mean, Doug Gross would know more than you do.
Well, of course.
But he's been chief of staff. He's run for governor. Are you ever going to run?
Well, he was Mitt Romney's campaign chair.
Yeah. Are you ever going to run for an office?
No.
No, me neither.
No. I'm a legend in my own mind, Mac. As long as I can keep at this distance, I can sound like I know what I'm talking about.
There you go. And the other expert we've got in today, is it okay if I call you an expert?
I don't know if I'd call myself an expert, but
Very informed?
sure.
Passionate?
Very.
All right, and it's Sarah Bowman. She is the former co-chair of the Polk County Republicans. She's here with her husband and your son, Harry, who is how old?
He will be 12 weeks tomorrow.
Wow, that's great. So we have 3.5 generations, because I would be the grandfather, and then you'd be the child, and then the smallest child would be Harry, and then the baby mind, the weak, simple-minded one, is Father Tattoo in the booth. So we've got all the generations covered today.
And he's already voted for us, Mac. I saw pictorial evidence of that.
I did. I saw that. Can we give our votes to Mitt Romney, Mr. Coates and I? Can we say take the multitudes and buckets of ballots that voted for us and shift them to Romney?
That doesn't work that way. No.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
bet if I was a Democrat, I could do that, couldn't I?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they can do anything.
I am pretty sure you've gotten 0 votes because you didn't even get mine. At the last second, I chickened out. I voted for somebody much different.
Well, so what was the write-in thing I saw?
County auditor.
Oh, we could be county auditor.
You actually you have a couple
shifted our
votes for
position.
county auditors.
So we might not win the presidential now with the loss of that one vote.
No, yeah. There's some other people out there. I went down to the homeless shelter and handed out bottles of whiskey and ballots, and they all went down.
The Democrats on that line.
Yeah.
Everywhere there was a line to fill you guys in on, I just went ahead and put you there. So you're in 2 or 3 different places on my ballot.
Well, we could be Judge Coates.
Yeah, well,
We'll
yes.
look good in a black robe.
Actually, I voted
We'll
all
take
those
Wiggins'
guys
spot.
out.
Yeah. Hey, we'll talk to Branstad, see if one of us can't get in there on Wiggins' seat.
There you go. Oh, boy, you think that'd make the liberals mad. Army Brad is here. It's always nice to have Army Brad with the conservative view, and that from a passionate, military-loving American. And, of course, Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat watching the chat. You can join us on the chat. Just go to Mac's World Live, MACSWorldLive.com, or go to theviewfromapew.com, and there's a live chat. Phone lines are also open, 1-855-244-0077. If something strange happened at your polling place, something that didn't feel so good, we'd sure like to hear about it. This would be a great place to tell. Did you hear about the guy in Chicago? at a Chicago polling place.
What did he do?
African American, had an Obama hat on, and that he was giving 2 ballots. This is serious. He was giving 2 ballots to some of the Democrats.
Yep, I heard about that.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, and the Black Panthers are
out in Philadelphia.
They're out in Philadelphia.
And at my polling place, one of the gals showed up in an Obama T-shirt, and they made her go home and change. I was just told that a little bit ago.
While she was working there?
Yeah, she was supposed to work today.
Oh, good.
I voted a little bit ago, and they said one of the gals showed up first thing this morning with an Obama T-shirt. They made her go home.
Good. Good. I think they should. All right. Sarah, let's get a little background on you. You're happily married to a handsome guy sitting behind me. What's his name again?
David.
Nice son, Harry. Is that number 1?
That's number 4.
Holy Toledo!
Yes.
4 children?
Boys.
Boys.
All boys.
Now, let me guess. There's Harry. There's Prince Charles. No? Am I running down the wrong?
Actually, our
Is it all
oldest-
Harry Potter names?
No, our oldest is William.
'Kay.
But we call him Liam.
Liam.
And then we have Sean.
'Kay.
And Brendan.
Brendan.
And then Henry, but we call him Harry.
I love Harry. I love that name. All right. And you graduated from Valley.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm from Glidden.
Glidden,
originally.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you've been involved in the political passion of this country for how long?
I started working for the Republican Party in 2002, and I was a senior at Iowa State then.
Okay. What? Talk to me like I'm a 6-year-old. What does it mean? What is the responsibility and authority when you are the co-chair of a county like Polk County in Iowa?
Mommy goes to a lot of meetings.
Okay.
And when the chair is unable to be there, I would manage the meeting. And
Do you have political aspirations yourself?
I've thought about it.
Good.
Looking at my husband, he says I'm a better behind-the-scenes person than
Well,
a candidate, but we'll see.
We have a good friend by the name of Rob Tully, who has been an amazing guy behind the scenes, plays for the wrong team, but he's been amazing behind the scenes, and he ran for office once, and he's always said it was the best thing he ever did. He lost, but got beat by a good Republican. But by him running, he said it gave him some experience behind the scenes that he had never, had a little more empathy for some of the people out there.
Yep.
All right. And so you may run for office, you may not, but do you see yourself always involved in the political?
I think so. I never really thought that I would be in politics. My degree's in English literature, British literature.
Thought you'd be a teacher?
No.
No?
No. I just like to write. So.
Okay.
And then I started working for RPI in 2002, worked for Chuck Gipp in the Iowa House, and then went to work for Grassley as his communications director in 2004.
I like him.
And then was secretary and then became co-chair for Polk County. Did a little work at Principal, Agribusiness Association of Iowa, and now I work for a political action committee.
Okay, I want to ask this carefully because I got to be careful. And you don't ever have to answer anything you don't want to.
Okay.
Okay, please, don't put yourself in a difficult position.
Okay.
Because in this day and age, it's here forever.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of Senator Grassley and have been for years. His grandson is now in the state legislature, and I've heard he is a chip off grandfather's block. Do you think we're going to see what's his name? Grassley.
Pat Grassley?
Yeah,
Pat.
Pat. Do you think we're going to see Pat rise and maybe run for his grandfather's seat?
I think maybe we could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
it would.
That'd be cool. I've had Grassley in the seat for 40 years. All right, let's start with some of the key district races. There are only 4 districts now in the state of Iowa. First, second, third, and fourth. First is Bruce Braley against Ben Lang. First district, it doesn't have an exact thing over here, but that's Quad Cities, Dubuque. Okay. Second district is John Archer against David Lobsack. Where is that second district?
That's down in the People's Republic of Johnson County area.
Okay, all right. So that's Keokuk, that area.
Yeah.
Why do you laugh?
People's Republic. I like it. I appreciate it.
It's true.
Yeah, they have a republic down there.
I call Clive Communist Clive, and I live there, so I can say that. Third district, of course, is the hot contested race between Leonard Boswell and Tom Lathan. And then the fourth district. And, I'm always so cautious to say things before the election's over because I know that I will be held to this. But I want to crawl into the mind of Christy Vilsack, and I know there's got to be a lot of empty space in there, and figure out why she did this. I mean, she's a nice lady. She was a wonderful first lady. Tom Vilsack's a good Secretary of Agriculture. What in heaven's name do you think got into her to do this?
The retirement money, maybe.
Yeah, just being in office and making the money.
Yeah.
No, let's back up. Let's define that question a little bit. Why didn't she stay home instead of being a carpetbagger and primary the Nutty Professor Loebsack and then take an easy seat if she really wanted to be in the House of Representatives? My contention is she never wanted to be, that she was merely building up brownie points so that when her husband steps out of the seat as Secretary of Agriculture, he'll have a clean shot to take a U.S. Senate seat out of Iowa. That's what I think.
So you think he may run in the race where Grassley... Well, both Grassley and Harkin, how long... I mean, we said this about Boswell like 400 years ago, and he's still around. But both Grassley and Harkin at some point have got to... I mean, their health isn't going to mandate it, but they got to step away.
Right.
And Vilsack is certainly somebody who would be able to step up. So you think it's
that's
just
my
window
theory,
dressing?
and I'm still holding to it. That's what I think. If she really wanted to be in the House of Representatives, primary the Nutty Professor. He's not very popular over there. It's a Democratic area, probably win.
Right.
But she could have taken him out and then walked into that U.S. House seat, but it would have made it very difficult then for her husband to come on over and run for the U.S. Senate.
Well, and if the post office box closes, Harkin's not going to have an address in Iowa, so.
That's right.
Harkin actually does have a house, and I know, and I won't tell you how I know, but he does have a house that he actually lives in Cummings, Iowa. I believe the post office box for a while, but after an experience I had, that's not true. He does live in Cummings.
Okay. Why, Sarah, why were we seeing ads in Des Moines, Iowa for the Archer-Lubsick race?
I'm not sure.
Is the TV coverage that so it gets down into the Johnson County area in the
Like-
2nd District?
Yeah, are you talking like on local news channels? Or?
Yeah.
Oh.
I just thought that was interesting. Okay, Bruce Braley and Ben Lang. Do you know Ben? You've been around Ben, I'm sure.
Not a whole lot.
Okay. Braley is a nice-looking man, nice guy, clearly a bleeding heart liberal. You've got 22 years. Ben Lang is 22 years, Bruce Braley's junior. Any thoughts on what's going to happen in the 1st District?
I would really like Ben to win. That's my thought.
I'd really like Ben to win, and I'd like my husband to win the lottery, and I want all 4 of my children to marry queens. I know you'd like Ben to win, but what do you think's going on there?
He's doing a lot of door knocking. He's got a lot of people out there lit dropping and making phone calls for him, and I really am hopeful that he can get it done.
Okay. 2nd District, Archer and Loebsack. Any thoughts there? I would really like John Archer to win.
I would like John Archer to win. No. I think that
She's so cute.
I think that Archer is going to get most of the district, with the exception of Iowa City.
You think a Loebsack will get
Oh, yeah.
most of the district? Okay. And 3rd District, Leonard Boswell, Tom Latham.
I love Tom Latham.
It can't even be a question, is there?
Yeah. And, my husband served in the Iraq War.
Thanks
and,
for serving.
And his dad was in Vietnam.
Okay.
And his dad said, I think it was back in June, it won't be long before Leonard brings out the choppers. And, of course, he did.
Yeah.
And it was interesting when my husband came back, we didn't get a thank you letter from Leonard Boswell when Dave got back. But we
Yeah.
got one from Latham, and we got one from King, and one from Grassley.
Good.
So.
Now, was it you? Okay,
What?
help me remember this. I think this was a conversation between you and I and somebody else.
We had Latham on a few weeks ago. You thinking about that?
No,
one?
I don't think that was it. Somebody who said that the Democratic Party was not backing Boswell with money.
That's what we were told early. They did come in with some money. In the interview I had last week, Mac, when you were out with your back with Doug, he felt pretty confident of the internal polling of both the Latham and the King race. In fact, he said at that point King was up by double digits over Christy Vilsack, and he felt comfortable that Latham would win it. I don't think the Democrats backed Boswell with the money or the resources that they might have had they really wanted him to stay in there. So.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll continue to look at some of the legislative races here in the central Iowa area, judicial retention votes, and, of course, we'll end up talking about the Obama-Romney race. Sarah Bowman, the former co-chair of Polk County Republicans, is in the house with Tom Coates, Army Brad, Bob Montserrat, and Father Tattoo. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and if I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you right here on The Truth, 99.3 KTIA, Iowa.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
It's like they want to get hit.
Need a body shop?
Minor Wreck Express saves you time and money.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. And he said not only would he like to be a sponsor, but he would offer a $100 tithe for every customer that came and bought a car from him directly to the church of your choice. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John.
Ever feel like there's more to life? God offers more. Chat now with an online coach at groundwire.net.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Have you ever been told you're not a good enough Christian? Well, we have too. Join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. Now here's your host, president of the Not a Good Enough Christian Club, J. Michael McCoy.
.321 on this, the 6th day of November in the Lord's year 2012, Election Day. And I can tell you I've been waiting for this day for 4 years.
I agree.
You and I both have. I remember 4 years ago, Bradshaw and I were doing a show, and Obama won. And I just, I wasn't shocked because he was up against McCain.
McCain was an embarrassment to all of us.
Have you seen the movie The Campaign yet? You ought to watch that.
Okay.
It's what, 6 months old maybe?
Yeah.
But it's the whole way they chose Palin and what she was supposed to be like and how McCain put up with her and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah Bowman is in the house. She's the former co-chair of the Polk County Republicans. Tom Coates, one of the best-informed political guys I know. Army Brad's in the house along with Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching your chat. So if you want to throw in some comments. Anything interesting on chat yet today?
Well, one of the comments is that there might be some thoughtful insight into the elections.
From who?
Think Free.
From us?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, he's right.
That's what he's waiting
or
for.
She's right. Is that a man or a woman? I don't know. Think Free. Hope it's both. No, I don't want both.
She's expecting thoughtful insight from this group?
Yes.
Well, she needs to turn to another station.
Well, she kind of commented on that, too. If it's all right.
Tom Latham is the projected winner in the 3rd District. In the 4th District, Steve King and Christy Vilsack. Did she ever have a chance?
I don't think so.
I mean, I remember...
Especially not way up northwestern Iowa.
Well, and after that first debate, that poor woman, I felt so bad for her.
Yeah, it was a horrible debate, horrible performance.
It was. All right, let's talk about some of the races, and you're more familiar with these than I, so I'm going to let you take the lead on these. Some of the legislative races. Of course, Pat Ward passed away from breast cancer. They didn't have time to get her off the ballot, so I heard December 11th or 12th?
December 11th.
They're going to have another race.
Yep.
And Pat Ward's husband has said he's going to run for that seat.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
All right, and that's against Desmond
Adams.
Right, and I've heard good things about Adams, but don't you think that Mr. Ward will get the... I'm sorry, it's the sympathy vote. I mean, he's not a legislator. He's not a politician. The comments now said are those of J. Michael McCoy only and not of Sarah Bowman. He's just doing this... Why?
Well, that happens quite often when a candidate passes away. There was that one up in Minnesota.
Yeah, there was one in Missouri.
One in Missouri, and I don't know.
All right.
I've heard a couple of different names mentioned because they're just a special nominating committee.
Yeah.
That would have to decide who will be the candidate. So.
Mac, I know Desmond, and he does cut a good figure. He's a tall fellow. He's a businessman. He's sharp, black guy.
He's in your cigar club, isn't he?
And he's in one of my cigar brothers. So, but if we put up a decent candidate, he has a little chance.
Okay. The other race that I'm familiar with is the Carly riding race over in Altoona. I think it's District 63. Anything on anything?
I haven't been following that one very much. I'm over in Waukee, Dallas County,
right.
So I'm with the Hagenows and...
Okay, how about those races? Talk to me about that.
I see a lot of Susan Judkins stuff out. I've seen a lot of her ads, but I really think that Chris is going to win this.
He's the incumbent, right?
Yes.
Okay. And again, I don't know about some of these things, so I'm just going to throw some names out. Is Ken Sorensen running again?
I think he is, yeah.
That's down in Warren County. That's your county.
Yes.
And he is running again?
Well, but he's not on the ballot this time.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not.
It's not his time up.
No, it's not his time up. We've got House seats down there. Julian Garrett, Katie Routh is the one in my area.
Right.
But no, Kent is not running, and we wouldn't know whether he's interested in trying again. But he's not up yet. Won't be for 2 years.
All right. Any other key races here in the state of Iowa, specifically locally here in the central Iowa area, that we ought to know about?
I think we were talking about it earlier. The one that we need to look at is the Gronstal race.
Yeah, Council Bluffs.
Yep.
Who's he running against? A Republican, obviously.
Yeah.
And we kind of heard that he kind of dabbled in nothing illegal, but he took all the money out of that campaign for himself to run ads against his contender.
And that's one of the strategies, Mac. When if somebody wanted us to talk strategy, one of the strategies is when you have a person like Gronstal, who's a Senate Majority Leader, he's kind of the shepherd of the money. Typically is supposed to give it out to they do some internal polling, they decide what races are competitive. He's supposed to dole it out to try to defend the seats that are defensible.
Right.
In this case, where you put him under heavy attack, and we had Doug on last week, and he said the latest poll shows Gronstal with a 1-point lead.
Okay.
He has to worry about defending his own seat, and so he's taken the money that otherwise would have gone to other competitive Democratic candidates. The thought is that perhaps a few of those will go down that wouldn't have had to go down because Gronstal's defending his own home turf, and that's good. And I would love to see that guy get out of there.
Yeah.
What a skunk of the highest order.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. Let's talk for a moment about the Wiggins thing. I know Bob Vanderplatz. I've known him for years. It kind of becomes an anti-Bob Vanderplatz thing rather than a anti-Wiggins thing, if people or a pro-Wiggins thing. Any polling or anything you've heard on how that's going to go?
No, I haven't actually seen a whole lot of polling on the Wiggins thing. Personally, I always vote no on the judges.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Just because I don't think it should be a lifetime appointment.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, that's all right. That's, you do the same
Yeah,
thing,
I do
right?
the same every time.
Yeah.
I did the same.
Did you?
I typically do. This time, Mac, I voted no Wiggins. I voted the others that Branstad had put on for the 3 that had been voted off because I wanted to contrast the judge vote with Wiggins. Now, I voted no to the rest of them, and I don't even know who they are. And typically, I'll vote no. This time, I wanted to contrast the Wiggins vote with the others, so I voted yes to the other 3 Branstad appointees to fill those roles.
And if I had been thinking, I probably would have done something like that.
But you never think.
No, I was too busy trying to get out of there.
All right, my wife and I voted early. What a wonderful thing! We voted a couple Saturdays ago. You know, is that going to be done in the future again? Do you think, or was this a test?
I'm not really a fan of the whole voting early thing.
Aren't you? You think we ought to vote one day and that's it?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Because so many things could change between the time you voted and today.
I had people contacting me on Facebook after the first debate, and they said, well, I voted for Obama, but I watched the debate and I really liked what Mitt had to say. How can I change my vote? You can't. It's done.
Yeah. All right. That's a good point. How about just a 2-day voting thing then?
Why can't we just do it on one day?
I don't know.
Well, legitimate absentee for people that need the absentee, but the 40
Absolutely.
days, we talked about this last Thursday, is a tremendous abuse. And I've got an illustration in my own office, perhaps, that voted way early and after that debate, and some of the stuff on Libya came out, and the Democrats denying God in their convention. All those things were factors, and if you voted right off the bat and 40 days out, none of them could be taken into account to change your vote.
Well, that's probably better. Now, in New Jersey, Christie is allowing them to vote by email. Did you hear this?
No, I
Only
hadn't
in
heard that.
affected disaster areas, I believe, but the confusion is that now everybody thinks they can do it however they want.
Right.
So.
I could make a New Jersey disaster area joke, but I won't.
Well, what I heard about that was they could do it by the computer, over email, but they had to send in later the official ballot.
Do you think? Let's talk about this with the entire panel. Sandy, the storm that hit the East Coast. Help Obama, help Romney. Tom?
Well, I certainly the Republicans' conventional wisdom is Sandy was a big help to slow the Romney momentum down. Perhaps a little bit. Perhaps I don't think as much as they're thinking it did. It does draw up the problem with Romney letting that last debate just lay there and play defense and not get after him, force the press to ask the questions about Libya and some of the things on foreign policy. Overall, I think Sandy will be a minor plus to Obama, and it did perhaps stem some of the momentum that Romney was building. I think it'd been a clearer victory for Romney today if Sandy hadn't hit.
Brad?
I think it helped Obama, but then he wasted it and didn't actually stay and help. He got his photo op and got on a jet and took off. And if he would have done more, I think people would have actually seen him being presidential, and it would have had more help for him.
Robert?
As you go later in a disaster, people start complaining more if services aren't restored.
Right.
But a lot of that has been, not covered in certain of the news, the media.
Oh, absolutely. Although
And
I
so-
saw some juicy stuff on Fox with Bloomberg getting attacked on the
Well,
street.
Fox is showing it, but the others
That's
aren't.
The,
You're
the
right,
others
Bob.
aren't, the
No.
national ones. And the thing is, you have to understand that initially, when you go in fast, everybody, that's that honeymoon time where everybody's, just trying to recover and it looks good. But then when you wait, things get ugly.
Yeah. How about you, Father Tattoo? Sandy have any impact on the election, presidential election?
Hard to tell.
There's insightful comment from our producer.
Well, it certainly could
There
have.
you go thinking again.
It certainly could have. I mean, I don't think so. I think that Barack Obama went in fast, like Bob was saying, and did a good job at what he did fast. We knew better based off of what happened to Katrina on how to be prepared, so he had a better setup for it. But I'm sure some people go, well, look at Katrina, look at this, and it's really comparing apples to oranges. It's a completely different incident. And we were better, and FEMA's been better prepared and has a better director. So,
well, Keenan West came out and said that Barack Obama doesn't like white people, so at least he's being, fair there. Sarah, you're the expert in the room. What do you think?
I think that you're right that Obama really kind of squandered, never let a good tragedy go to waste. And
Yeah.
he really did. He could have done so much more, but he went in, he handed out a few bottles of water, and that was it. And I didn't really care the way the media was giving Mitt Romney a hard time when he was asking people to bring donations
Yeah.
to his rally, and people weren't. So he went and spent $5,000 of his campaign money on water and food and stuff, and they're saying, yeah, and they're giving
going
him
to
a
say
hard time
stuff
for that.
bad anyway, just because they're so far in the
Right.
pocket. I think one of the tragedies of our nation today is how deep the media is in the liberal pocket. It's
and we're going to go
sickening.
there. We're going to go there in the next segment. My thought on Sandy is different than everybody else's, and it's kind of the opposite from yours, Tom. I think Sandy really helped Romney because those are all blue states, and a lot of those people don't know where to vote today. They don't know if their polling places are open. They don't have electricity. The last thing they're thinking about is what's going on in the national election, and if they are thinking, they're probably upset because they're not getting help the way they should. So
I did have that thought. I
see
just,
a lot
I
of
just
less.
don't know that it plays out that way, but I did have that thought.
Well, I've noticed some, when those TV talking heads, they have those new fancy maps where they can move states across, and I've seen a couple of those guys talk. Granted, it's probably on Fox that I saw this, but they were wondering if maybe New York wouldn't go for red state because not that many people could get to the polls and stuff
In the Manhattan area.
Yeah, you don't agree with that?
No, I don't see
That
New
would
York
be
going red.
incredible.
That would, yeah.
Then I would truly think that the hurricane had a divine.
The God was taking a direct
I
hand
would
down.
be so shocked. I would.
Chris Matthews would cry on air, I'm sure.
Well,
Yes, he would.
That would be beautiful, and it's happened many times, and I'm sure it'll happen more. So.
All right, we are talking about what else. It's Tuesday, November 6th, 2012, the most important election in our lives. We say that every 4 years, but we seem to
Or
believe
the most
it.
recent, at least the most recent.
Well, but we seem to believe that this is, a very, very important.
It is, in fact, the most important election since the last most important election.
There you go.
Before the next most important election, where America will certainly be doomed.
Sarah Bowman is my special guest. She's former co-chair of the Polk County Republicans. Tom Coates in the house along with Army Brad. And, of course, Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat. When we come back, we'll continue some strategy thinking on what's going on inside the country, and I'll give you something that a friend of mine, Vince Sanders, said, and it make more sense than anything I had heard in the past 6 months of the rabbit talking. That's coming up next, live here on The Truth, 99.3 KTIA, powered by WebcastOneLive.com. This is The View from a Pew.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's your home.
It's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there, they're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
All right, here we are on the 6th day of November in the Lord's year 2012. It is Election Day 2012. 3:38 in the afternoon. By the way, True Blue, hosted by Pastor Michael Mudloff, is coming up next at 4 o'clock right after the Salem Radio Network News. Our special guest today is Sarah Bowman. She is the former co-chair of the Polk County Republicans. Tom Coates in the house for today and tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll have Craig Robinson in. And, boy, Craig will unpack this. He's really good at that kind of stuff.
I think so. And you only have a few hours left, ladies and gentlemen, to get out and vote for that McCoy Coach ticket.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
County auditor.
Vote twice. Yeah.
Soil
County
Conservation
auditor.
Board.
Yeah. Or the Conservation Board. They've got several votes for each.
I couldn't believe the dog catcher thing was. We don't have dog catchers
If there
anymore,
could have been a dog, that's where I would have put Mitt.
Okay. I'm so glad this is about over just because I have to work with. You know, you're worse than Bradshaw in many ways.
Why is that? Because you expect me to agree with you and I don't?
No, it's because Bradshaw at least has some reason behind his what he does.
I have
you're
great
just a
reason.
bigot.
You just refuse to call me or take my reason, and then you call me names.
That's not a name. That's a descriptor.
No, that's really just an offensive name at this point.
Oh, are you offended by that?
I think it's offensive language. Absolutely. Would you like it if I called you a bigot?
Well, if it was true, then that's okay.
I think you're a bigot.
Okay. And what am I bigoted against?
You're bigoted against about everybody that doesn't agree with you.
No, that's not the definition of a bigot.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
Definition
Mac,
of a bigot.
And that's why I'm not using my English degree to teach.
There you go.
Now,
there
Mac,
you go.
Mac, though, how do you feel about homosexuals?
I love them.
Mm-hmm. That's how the language you've used on this show, you've been called the same thing.
But I love them.
Okay, but it's not how you talk about them.
Well, politically,
yeah.
Do I talk different politically about them?
Yeah, but that makes you a big. I'm not talking.
No.
I'm not talking spiritual about the guy. I'm not saying he's going to hell.
Yeah, you say he runs a cult.
No, I said he's part of a cult.
Okay, well,
he fits the definition of a cult.
Okay. Well,
that doesn't make me a bigot. That makes me accurate.
No, it makes you a bigot.
No, it makes me accurate.
Mac, we're spending minutes poking the stick at a bear over there when we ought to be talking about legitimate things.
I know. All right. It was April of 2000. I'm sorry. It was September of 2009 when Mitt Romney came back to Iowa, and you were working. No, you weren't working with him at the time, but you were supporting him.
No, I was not.
Okay.
It was 2006 actually is when I first met Mitt.
Well, I'm talking about after the 2008 elections.
Oh, yeah. No.
So Iowa has had presidential candidates on their mind since then. And then, of course, the big one came in the 2010 State Fair when Mitt Romney came and was speaking from the Des Moines Register soapbox. And then it came unglued. You had Michelle Bachmann. You had Texas Governor Rick Perry. You had Tim Pawlenty. You had Santorum. You had Newt Gingrich. Is there a candidate that you would have preferred to see nominated on the Republican side than Mitt Romney?
I actually caucused for Rick Santorum,
Okay.
and I spoke on behalf of him
All right.
at my precinct. I had to follow Ann Romney herself, was at my location, and
Wow.
Rick Perry.
Wow.
That was fun.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, in front of about 1,500 people in that Point of Grace big
Yeah.
auditorium there. Yeah, that was fun.
Ouch. Do you think, and everybody can chime in on this, I know I'm looking at Sarah, but I want everybody to chime in. Do you think that the way the Republicans vetted each other, bullied each other, beat up on each other, however you want to say that, do you think that's hurting us today? And
No.
I mean today, Election Day?
I don't think so.
I think it helped us because going up against Gingrich made Romney a much better debater.
Okay.
Much better debater, because people will say that Obama may have won two of the debates, but not in reality. He might have had better smiles and went over the top more often, but Romney was able to target the people he wanted to get his message to, and I think it made him a much better candidate.
Tom?
I agree essentially with Brad, and of course the only debate that really mattered significantly was the first one.
Right.
And I do think that we sharpened him up. In fact, I just talked to Rick Juergens, former CEO of Hy-Vee, in the locker room just a few hours ago, and we were talking about this, and he said, I met him, visited with him different times some years back, and I said, we had too, and he's a much better candidate today than he was 4 or 5 years ago. He's a much better debater, and I think what Brad just said is true. I think how many debates did we have in the Republican primary?
We had 7, didn't we?
Something like that.
I think we even had more than that, but we had a number of debates, and I think that helped sharpen him up. Obama didn't have any, and I think that showed certainly in the one debate that mattered, that first debate.
And I don't know, what did you hear in the circles of why he did so poorly in that first debate, the president?
Honestly, how do I put this? My husband has said it more than once that he thinks that maybe Barack Obama doesn't want a second term.
Brad and I were talking about that today. Yep.
And I think he's
care.
been sheltered. He's not used to being put on the spot and have somebody question him.
Right.
He thought, I'll just go through like everything else, and it'd been since the Clinton debates that he actually had to answer questions against what he had done.
Mm-hmm.
That was almost 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell that Mitt was really getting under Barack's skin, especially in the last debate when he was very condescending, and we got those ships that go underwater. It's like, really, people don't want to see their president be a condescending.
And for the record, we do still use bayonets.
Yes, we do.
Correct.
And lots of, there might not be a lot on the ships. The Navy doesn't use them. The Air Force doesn't use them. But the Army and Marine Corps, we always have a bayonet on our side.
Yeah, except we call them K-bars now.
No, we call them bayonets, brother.
Well, it depends
K-bar is
on
a completely different
No,
tool.
the AR,
There
the
is independent
M16 has the attachment for a K-bar.
We'll talk off air what the difference between a K-bar and a bayonet.
Fair enough.
He argues with every professional that's in here.
We got another Army guy out there,
it's
too.
amazing.
Yeah, here's a guy who's got a 30-year Army experience, and
I'm the guy that's got an AR-15 with a K-bar attached to it.
But
that's why I would argue.
He would know what the Army uses.
He may call him a different term.
Well, the M8 is a current bayonet that the Army uses. I can't speak for the Marine Corps because I don't know what bayonet they use, but a K-bar was actually a Marine Corps knife.
Sure.
I heard a Marine the other day say, yes, we still use bayonets.
Yeah, they still use bayonets.
It's not called K-bar training. It's called bayonet training.
Fair enough.
All right, let's talk for a minute about what has to happen for Romney to be elected. We know it's 270 electoral votes. Mm-hmm. People are saying that Ohio is has to be. That doesn't make sense to me because you could pick up 3 other states that were blue. I mean, West Virginia certainly is not going to go for Obama this time around.
Right.
Pennsylvania
is probably not.
Pennsylvania's in play.
Pennsylvania has more delegates than Ohio. So if he loses Pennsylvania, Romney can lose Ohio. And just because no Republican has ever been elected without Ohio before doesn't mean that he can't be.
Right. That's not a rule. How do you think Iowa will go, Tom?
Let me talk on Ohio for just a second. Thing came out today of interest. In the counties that McCain had won 4 years ago, the early voting showed plus 14 points. On the counties that Obama had won, they're down 2 percentage points from the vote totals. Now, it doesn't say who they're voting for, but you would presume that if the counties that are essentially conservative are up 14 points over a year ago, and the ones that went for Obama are down 2 points from 4 years ago, then you're looking pretty good in Ohio. I want to throw that in. When Doug was on here last week, I asked him about the internal pollings on Iowa. He said Romney was up about 3 to 4 points. I asked him early this morning on an email, and he said, last I saw, we were tied. So
in Iowa.
That's best I can do. But I do think that there's some other factors that would argue for Romney taking Iowa, and I do think he'll take Iowa.
All right, we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the media's impact on this election. Sarah Bowman, the former co-chair of the Polk County Republican Party, is in the House along with Tom Coates. And you, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is The View from a Pew on 99.3 KTIA, powered by WebcastOneLive.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
It's like they want to get hit.
Need a body shop?
Minor Wreck Express saves you time and money.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Come on now, let's reason together. The phone lines are open, and it's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
It's 10 before the top. Salem Radio Network News at the top of the hour, then True Blue, hosted by none other than Pastor Michael Mudloff. It's November 6th, Election Day, 2012, a day that many of us have waited for 4 years, for the defeat of a man that we felt wasn't qualified to be president, a man that we didn't really know very well, and since then we probably know even less about him. A man who I believe, and you can blame me if you disagree, I don't mean to be offensive, but I think he was untruthful. Now, you'll say, well, all politicians are. I think Barack Obama got a Golden Globe in being not truthful. Because if you recall, if we can't get the unemployment rate below 8%, then this is a one-term president. Well, then you shouldn't be running. I promise our administration will be transparent. Well, you weren't. I promise I'll have a immigration bill that we can vote on. You didn't. And your hope and change was only good for those, yes, I'm going to offend you again, 47% who suck off the teat of the American people. And I think it'll be interesting tonight. If I could wish for anything magical, other than rather than a Romney winning, I'd love it if he won it 53-47.
That would be awesome.
That would be really awesome. All right, Sarah Bowman is my guest today, former co-chair of the Polk County Republicans. Thank you for being here, by the way, and your husband and your beautiful son, Harry. We on the right say that there is a obvious media bias from the left. The left says that's not true. The media bias comes from Fox. So this can probably never be solved overall. But let's think of something that we saw in the last election cycle that we could absolutely point to media bias. Sarah, do you have one that you could think of off the top of your head?
Libya.
Yeah, that would be mine.
Yeah.
That would be mine.
And the most criminal of the things. I mean, there's so many, but the not reporting on the information on Libya is, in my mind, criminal.
Okay.
It's over the line of even supporting. I mean, it makes
Tom, do you agree with that?
Oh, I certainly agree with it. And while we're at it, I think that the use and the misuse and the abuse of the polls is also another indication of media bias. And I do want to mention the CNN poll that was just out yesterday, Mac. It showed the race tied, I think, at 48-48 all. That to get there, they had to oversample the Democrats by 11 points. Now, in the guts of that, this was kind of interesting, and this may have been the most interesting thing in that poll. When they asked the Democrats how you're going to vote, 5% of them said they would be voting for Romney. When they asked the Republicans, only 1%, maybe even less than 1%, said that they would be voting for Obama. And I thought that was quite telling. Okay, so that the poll was greatly, I mean, the percent in 08, the Democrats over the Republicans was 7 points. Nobody expects it to be 7 points now. And yet this poll that oversampled the Democrats by CNN, yes, by 11 points, showed them essentially tied, and it showed a much greater propensity for Democrats to be willing to look at Romney than any of the Republicans are to be willing to look at Obama.
Sarah, should we have some type of central committee that is a fact checker on ads in the future? I mean, I think about that ad about the woman who died because she didn't have insurance and it was all Romney's fault. I saw another commercial yesterday on Bain driving jobs out of the private sector and over to China. Is that a foolish thing to think of in America, that we would fact check all the ads?
I think that's something the voters need to do. They need to go out and find the real information for themselves, rather than being told what's true and what's not.
But I think the first debate proved that people were waiting to actually see the people with their eyes and ignore all the money they put in ads. Because
I agree.
That was a critical point. Because everything that had been said about Obama by the media, by the Democratic Party, was washed away, and the next day it was a different election.
Do you think Romney stayed on point, that it's about jobs, it's about the economy, and made Barack Obama be accountable for his record as president?
He tried to, but Barack didn't want to talk about any of it.
Right.
He avoided it, which, is why we were talking about Big Bird and binders.
Yeah.
And bayonets.
And once again, there we go, the liberal media.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs on the roof.
Yep.
Killing people off with outsourcing jobs, binders, bayonets, and Big Bird.
Yep. Well, and my 6-year-old came home from school the other day, and he said, "You're not really going to vote for Romney, are you, Mom?" And I said, "Well, of course I am." And he goes, "My friend at school told me that Mitt Romney kills people." And I'm like, no. And I said, "Who do you think knows more about politics, your friend at school or me?"
Right. Well, and that's the Kool-Aid drinkers, And you and I are active on Facebook. I'm shell-shocked at the lies that are put out there, the charts and the lies, and
I came home last night to my 6-year-old grandson, one of them, and he asked me who I was going to vote for, and I told him, I said, "Who are you going to vote for?" "Same as you, Papa, I'm going to vote for Romney." I said, "Why?" He says, "Because Obama lies." So I hurried up and called his mom and said, "He didn't get this from me. He got this from somebody else."
There you go.
He said, "What did he lie about?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. Do you?" I said, "Oh, yes, I'll give you quite a list here."
Yeah. So, Mac, my kids' school's having an election, and they're going to vote. My kids told me, they came home and said, "We're going to vote for Barack Obama." I said, "Why is that?" I said, "Oh, he looks cool." I said, marched him in there this morning, said they can't vote.
Really?
I did. I said they don't know anything about the candidates, and unless you're going to inform them about the candidates, we're not going to have them vote.
Well, Craig Robinson, who will be on this show tomorrow, says if Obama marches to 270 in the electoral vote, but loses the popular vote, he would face the unpleasant prospect of spending 4 years as a lame duck or worse. Republicans would have a pretty strong hand to play against him over the next 4 years.
And he's going to have a media that is no longer protecting him. Tomorrow we'll have a different media.
You think so?
Oh, I know it in my heart, because they're going to turn on him. And I think they could turn on him so harsh that we could end up with President Biden, which is even scarier than President Obama.
That's terrifying. Will we know tomorrow morning? Will the Des Moines Register have the right headline?
It depends upon how Ohio does.
Okay, in the absentee.
Yes.
All right. Are we going to see any Do you think we're likely to see the trickery of hanging chads or this or that as we have in the past couple?
We could, especially with the provisional ballots in Ohio. I
Okay.
think that could be a problem. We might not know for 10 days.
Who the president is.
Mhm.
And what's your biggest fear if Romney wins, what Obama will do for the next 60 days?
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Oh,
That's scary.
Golf courses need to be on alert.
Oh, I see.
I think
EPA shenanigans.
Yeah,
I think Romney should appoint Obama as the ambassador to Libya on his first day.
That's good. I like that. We're going to have to use that. We're going to have to use that tomorrow. Sarah, thanks
Very
for being
clever.
here.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Enjoy you on Facebook. Sarah Bowman is our guest, former co-chair of the Polk County Republicans. Tom, I'll see you here tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Army Brad, won't see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Father Tattoo, keep your mouth quiet and keep smiling. And I'm J. Michael McCoy, and all I want you to do is pray. Thanks for listening.